Hello everybody, Gibsomatic here, and today I'm going to be talking about another adversary mode in GT Online called Tiny Racers. Now this was a new adversary mode, well, sorta new. It's actually like almost 2 weeks old at this point, and I'm just now getting around to making a video on it. However, I still want to talk about this game mode because whenever it got released, it was a little bit controversial. A lot of people either loved it or hated it, maybe more so from what I've heard, actually on the hateful side. However, I still want to make a video on it because it was actually kind of a hyped adversary mode. Like, the weekend before it actually came out, there was actually a trailer for it, which is completely out of the ordinary from Rockstar. They don't usually do that for adversary modes. So essentially, Tiny Racers was an adversary mode that came out on April 25th, so quite a while from now. However, it is essentially a race game mode, but instead of having the camera behind your character, you are placed above all 4 players. Now, it is a 4-player adversary mode, and the maps are pre-selected and made by Rockstar, and everybody is using the same vehicle. So that's essentially it. It's just a alteration on the race format. This has been something we have seen from Rockstar over the past couple of weeks. We've seen, with Resurrection, it's basically just an LTS, but with a sort of tiny twist on it that does change up the adversary mode. This is sort of the same thing where it's with stunt races, however, the camera is switched, and that is actually a pretty cool thing. It kind of reminds me of those old arcade games where, the entire camera was above all the players, and it's also a good reminder of the old classic GTA games, GTA 1 and GTA 2. Sure, it is in a competitive racing format and not, as much about what those originals were about, and it does kind of show us a little bit of how that would look like if, GTA 1 and 2 and those old classic GTA games got released in 2017. As for the actual adversary mode itself, there are a few options. Of course, you can choose how many rounds, but you can also choose if you want power-ups and non-power-ups. And this is actually quite cool. Some of the power-ups are a little bit better than others. Like, I'd say the bombs, rockets, and the Ruiner 2000 is far better than like the machine gun or something like the ramp buggy. Sure, the ramp buggy at times can be good, and the machine gun, but that's only if you're behind other players, which most of the time I've noticed that whoever's in first, they're just going to take the power up, and those won't be too useful. And while sometimes they are a little bit annoying, instead of it actually being more about a race and, actual good overtaking and all that, which is what I love about races in GT Online, it's more about just who can get the best power-up and who can line up the best rocket shot, or who can throw each other off the map. And while that is a bit annoying at times, it is a bit fun and satisfying whenever you line up the perfect rocket on, somebody in first place and you take the win, or better yet, whenever you're in first place and somebody's right on your tail and you get, that rocket power-up, or you get that bomb power-up, and you drop it right at the right time. Or, if you have rockets, you can actually press the right stick down, and you'll look behind you, and you can shoot the rockets behind you like in other GTA races. And then you line up the perfect shot, you get the win. It's very satisfying, and I do find this game mode to be a lot of fun because of that. The main problem I have is it turns into a ram fest where everybody's just trying to knock each other out the map. You spawn so close to each other that just at the beginning of the round, a lot of people will just try and hit each other off, or go for the first power-up that spawns and just kill each other. That is very annoying. It doesn't feel as much like races in GT Online, at least with power-ups. Maybe without power-ups, it's a bit different. It just feels like sort of vehicle vendetta more than an actual race. That's my biggest complaint with it. Other problems exist as well. I do kind of wish that it was more players. At least 8 would be nice. 4 just seems a little bit small. And then also the actual maps, they're a little bit bland most of the time. Maybe that's because it is a little bit different and you don't see the full map usually. However, some of them were a little bit bland. Also, another big complaint I have is that there's almost never any comebacks. The main problem with this, and the main reason why this is the case, is because if you're in first and you break away from all the other players, if people don't get back into the circle in 10 seconds, you will automatically win. Another problem is that there's no respawns. If you fall off the map, you're done for that round. So it's mainly just who can get into first place and stay in first place for as long as possible. It doesn't feel like you can actually make a comeback, especially because everybody's in the same vehicle and stock vehicles. So essentially, if you get into first place, it's very difficult for anybody in second or behind to actually catch up, unless first place spins out or something, or messes up somehow. So that's my review on this adversary mode. It is a bit of fun, and I will say that it is more fun with friends if you actually try and race and have fun that way. But if you're playing with randoms, most of the time it just turns into a spin out fest where everybody's trying to kill each other and spin each other out. It doesn't feel as much like an actual race. And maybe that was what Rockstar intended with this adversary mode, but I feel like it's just a bit disappointing that that's how it turned out. Maybe that's not what they're intending, and that's just how the GTA player base is, which doesn't surprise me. And also, what I want to say finally is that while a lot of people have said that this adversary mode is the worst adversary mode in the game, I would not agree with that. I'd say it's just kind of average, mostly. There's good things and there's bad things. I'd say there's worse adversary modes in GTA Online. Definitely ones that are just horribly imbalanced and one team almost always wins. Or game modes that just aren't that fun to play. This one, it is frustrating at times, but it's also a lot of fun to play. I actually really enjoy it. And sure, it doesn't have the longest longevity. I kind of wish that it was an actual option in other races. Now, I know there would be problems with that if it was in stunt races. What would happen whenever somebody's going through a tunnel or a stunt tube or something like that? And some maps wouldn't work with it. But I wish that it was an actual option in stunt races. Anyways, your thoughts on this in comments. What are your thoughts on Tiny Racers? I do understand that it came out quite a while ago. However, I still want to make this video to get your thoughts on it, even now that the dust has kind of settled on this adversary mode. Leave me your thoughts on that in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not? What do you think could be improved with it if you do not like it? Hope you enjoy. Feedback is always personal. See you guys in the next video.